Welcome to this episode about operational security. In the day-to-day operation, most journalists will never have to experience working in high-threat environments. But even in the day-to-day operation, there may be smaller or bigger threats. So you have learned how to encrypt your data, store it safely, and communicate securely with sources. There have been journalists that have tried and done all these things, but even then they have experienced problems. Today, I will tell you some of the stories about these people. As a journalist, you know it's important to protect both yourself, your sources, and your audience. The two first are quite obvious, but you may sometimes forget that your audience may also be in a position where they need to protect their privacy. That's why it's important to support privacy-enhancing technologies, such as Tor or other anti-tracking software. I have linked to a few other resources below. You may want to take a closer look. But back to our stories.
Edward Snowden is an American born in 1983, who in 2013 started working for the NSA as a contractor for Booz Allen Hamilton. While working for the NSA, he started to become disillusioned as he discovered the extent of spying going on. A huge portion of the surveillance was just a dragnet targeting innocent civilians. Despite raising concerns internally, his concerns fell on deaf ears. After meeting no response, he decided the world needed to hear about this. Programs such as Prism and X-Keyscore were used with direct access to the networks of a whole host of big American IT companies. At this point, he decided to go public and contacted Laura Poitras and Glenn Greenwald. In May 2013, Edward Snowden fled Hawaii for Hong Kong, at the time known for its commitment to free speech. He stayed at the Mira Hotel for 20 days. All the while he was staying there, he was talking to the journalist he had accompanying him, leaking thousands of classified documents. It is, however, David Miranda who is the subject of the story today. When traveling to Heathrow Airport in the United Kingdom, Miranda was held back by police for 9 hours. All the while they were searching his devices.
But what could Miranda have done differently? I, for one, am very mindful about crossing borders. I'm not so worried about revealing information about myself. But even though I'm not a journalist, I do carry potentially compromising material. When crossing borders, I travel with a clean phone and a laptop that can easily be restored from the cloud. The cloud itself is something you should be worried about, as authorities and others may try to get access to your data in the cloud. So I make sure to have as much as possible encrypted with keys that only I am in possession of. In a very high-threat environment, you may choose to travel with a fully functional laptop or phone, storing data using a technique called steganography. This technique allows you to store data within other data, such as images or videos, etc. And if even that is not enough, you can use a technique called plausible deniability file systems. This allows you to show different versions of your files depending on the password that you give. And one can never know if you have given them all possible passwords to decrypt your files.
So what about something else? An attack on the Iranian nuclear program.
Stuxnet is said to be the first known cyber weapon, thought to have been jointly developed by the United States and Israel.
Thought to have been smuggled in on an USB stick. The worm managed to destroy a large portion of the Iranian nuclear centrifuges before being discovered. A lesson to be learned that you should never accept an unknown medium into your system. Another country to be wary of is China. In recent years, we have discovered Chinese police stations in Europe, and they are more than willing to use intimidation tactics.
This may include calling you up and telling you they have a close relative sitting by to make you reveal information, following you on the street, or even perform kidnappings. The most severe cases seems to be reserved for people with close connection to China. As a European, you are somewhat more protected.
A place that is especially bad is the Xinjiang province in China. This is a place where Uyghurs, are detained in so-called re-education camps, which is just another name for a genocide that takes aim at destroying the Uyghur culture.
Once again, you should be especially aware when crossing borders. Make sure to keep track of all your electronic devices. But even if you try your best, they may be forcibly removed from you. In the short period of time the border guards have control of your devices, they may be able to install spyware or other malware.
Spyware such as Fengkai, Jingwang, or iJab, which have been known to be uploaded when crossing into Xinjiang.
These are applications that can extract information such as text, emails, call records, contact lists, and other information and upload them. But who also scans for predefined files such as references to the Quran, bomb-making recipes, and images of executions. Although the only case of hardware spying devices I'm aware of was installed by the US government, you should also be aware that hardware spying devices is a threat. If you lose track of your devices and such a device is installed, there is very little you can do about it other than be aware that you risk compromising your sources in such an environment. Another vector to be aware of is phones or laptops that come pre-installed, as one of the easiest ways to insert malicious software or hardware is in transit before you have even received your device.
The last topic we are going to have a look at are the lessons learned from the war in Ukraine.
It is not the Ukrainians, but the invaders who are bringing us the most interesting stories this time. The episodes are so plentiful that it's difficult to choose what to talk to you about, but the narrative is roughly the same every time.
A Russian journalist or video blogger takes pictures of a building or something other interesting and reports it. Ukrainian intelligence, open source intelligence, or somebody else picks up on this and figures out where this is happening. Target information is then fed up the chain of command and the target is eliminated. One such example was the so-called Propastna incident. On August 8, 2022, a Russian journalist published pictures of the Wagner PMC headquarters in Propastna. Unfortunately, I can't read Russian, but for those of you who can, if you pause the video, you can read the street address of the building up in the right. Mironovska 12. On the screen you can see some of the now deleted information from the Russian Telegram channel Gray Zone. There are multiple ways of blowing your sources. All of them do not necessarily involve physically blowing them up. But there are so many ways to leak information without knowing it. In this case, it is quite obvious. The street sign got posted.
But in other cases, it is not so obvious. Photos can often include metadata, such as the actual geolocation of where the photo has been taken. One should always be mindful of what kind of metadata is included in your media. Timestamps and other data can also be of vital importance. If you're documenting something that is passing in time, it may be enough to just delay the posting until the data is no more relevant. But if you're talking about an HQ that is supposed to be hidden, you may need to double and triple check everything in order to avoid possible hidden clues that can give away the position. In some cases, even if the story is relevant, you may not need to post it at all, because after all, it is your responsibility to keep both you and your sources as safe as they can be, even in a war zone. As exciting or dangerous as it may be, everyone does not get or want to be a war correspondent. Sometimes it is the important stories from home that take the front seat.
Even if you are not a journalist and are just posting videos of wholesome children playing on social media. Have you ever considered that the child falling over in this video may be from a home with an abusive father, with a mother and child who escaped and is now living at an unknown location? The article you just posted may be the clue that gives away their new location. That is why it is so important to just do the simple thing of asking before posting a video or picture online. Most of the times you will get a yes, and everything is okay, but once in a while, there may be good reasons why somebody wants to stay anonymous.